This is perhaps the most beautiful and also the most useful of the 4 recordings. How many times have even the best of mothers stumbled into embarrassed evasiveness when it comes to the fateful words which would properly describe the physical union of husband and wife? The result, of course, has been that many young girls have had to pick up this information piecemeal from companions, or else have gone into marriage with an incomplete knowledge that could mean great unhappiness for herself and her young husband. Actually, the essential facts of the physical union can be used to illustrate the sublime spiritual beauty of marriage. The story is given truthfully, simply, yet with an economy of detail that enables the young girl to take in this final chapter in the story of creation without shock or embarrassment. The frank use of technical terms is never allowed to detract from the basic beauty of the divine plan. Notice one striking innovation here: the fact that both parents give the instruction together. This wouldn't be possible, unfortunately, in all cases, but it has tremendous advantages. The way father and mother supplement each other, the blend of the physical and spiritual, the light touches of family humor, all these keep the scene natural and free from undue embarrassment. And they round out the true ideal of family unity that is the cornerstone of marriage.
I like sweet music, don't you, Mother?
I suppose so.
I can always study best when there's soft music playing.
I don't see how you can concentrate.
Oh, that's nothing. That son of yours always has one of those Cab Calloway records going full blast upstairs when he's studying.
I know.
And he has those awful medical books to wade through. Mother.
Yes, dear.
Mother, what do husbands and wives do when they get married?
What do husbands and wives? Why do you ask, dear?
Well, there were some drawings in Bob's textbook. I didn't mean to look at them, honest, and well, then some of the older girls, well...
You mean they talk about things sometimes?
Well, yes, only they stop when they see me coming.
What do husbands and wives do when they get married? It's quite a beautiful story, dear. I suppose it's time you knew. Let's ask your father to come in, too.
Daddy? Oh, no.
Well, why not?
But, Mother, he's a man.
Kitty, what a husband and wife do when they're married is the last chapter of a story I started telling you when you were a little girl. A story of how you were born. And since your father and I joined with God to give you life, it's only natural that we should tell you that story together, isn't it?
Well, yes, Mother. I just never thought of it that way.
Yes, but getting him away from those boxing bouts on the television will be something else, I'm afraid. George! Oh, George!
Call me, Jane?
Yes, come in for a minute, will you, George?
Jane Robinson's got him on the ropes. He's down.
Oh, see what I mean? George! Come here this instant. It's important.
Good night, Jane. Do you have to think up something important every time there's a good fight?
George, Kitty was just asking what husbands and wives do when they get married. I just thought it might be nice if we told her the story together.
What husbands and... Oh, sure, kitten. You started off, Mother. I'll put in my 2 cents as you go along.
Well, dear, you remember in religion class how you learned that marriage makes 2 people one?
Mm-hmm.
It makes them one in mind, one in spirit, and one in body. Now think back to when you were a little girl. Remember how you used to hug that raggedy stuffed doll of yours?
Oh, yes. I supposed I hugged the stuffing right out of her. Guess that was pretty silly, wasn't it?
Oh, no, you were doing just what all human beings do when they love someone.
That's it. We all instinctively want to be one with the person we love. So we like to be near them and hug them close. Remember how we cuddled you when you were little?
When we weren't using the slipper on you?
Oh, why, Daddy, how can you say such a thing? You know I was a model baby.
Well, I guess I've seen worse.
Oh, George, you're no help at all. Be serious for once in your life. You see, dear, This human desire to be united with the one you love was planted in all of us by God for a purpose. And it carries over into married life.
But how, Mother?
Well, I'm coming to that. You see, when God made a man's body and a woman's body, he so designed them physically that they could become like one body in marriage, just as they become one in mind and in spirit.
But I don't understand how.
Well, of course you don't, kitten. Well, when your mother speaks of God making men and women differently, she means that a man comes out and says what he has to say, while a woman always has to beat around the bush.
Now, George.
Now, look, honey, remember when you busted into the room one day when Mother was changing Jimmy and you first noticed that he was made differently from you?
Yes, and you told me it was so you and Mother would know which of us was a boy and which was a girl.
That's right. And with you being the tomboy you were, it was about the only way we could know. Well, God has another reason, too. Remember later how your mother told you about the different openings in your body and what they were for?
Yes, I told you there was a tiny opening in the folds between your legs called the vagina, and that when you were married, and if God sent you a baby, that the baby would come through that opening when it was time for it to be born.
Yes, I remember, Mother.
You see, kitten, God designed that opening in your body for another purpose, too. And that's where this business of desiring to be one with your husband comes in. When a man and a woman are married, their love makes them want to embrace each other closely. And this is a very holy thing. For God so made a man and a woman that part of the man's body, which we call the penis, can actually pass within his wife's body through the vagina.
Oh, but Mother...
Oh, darling, that's a great deal more than a physical union. When it is properly completed in marriage, both the husband and wife experience a spiritual joy that, well, it's beyond words to describe.
And well, here's why, kitten. That union was designed by God for another purpose, too. In fact, this one is the most important of all. Remember our telling you once how a seed from the father passed within a tiny egg that grew inside the mother, and that this was how God created a baby?
Yes, Dad.
Well, it's when a husband and wife are joined in this physical oneness that the seed passes from the husband into his wife. And there, God, if he so wills it, creates a new little soul.
That's why both Daddy and I love you so much, honey. You see, you're part of each of us.
Oh, Mother, that's so different than those things the girl at school were saying. I mean, it sounds so beautiful.
Oh, it is beautiful, dear. And that's why God wants us to guard our bodies and our minds, too, until we're married. Just the way I'm keeping my wedding dress spotless for you until your very own day comes.
Oh, that's sweet, Mother. I'll remember. My goodness, look at the time. And I have an exam tomorrow. Night, Dad. Night, Mother.
Night, darling.
Kitten. Well, that wasn't too bad, was it?
They act so grown up sometimes. They're really such babies.
No more of a baby than you were when I married you.
I guess you're right.
Jane, you want me to tell you something? It's kind of nice having a couple of grown-up babies around the house. Very nice.
Thank you, dear. Thank you very much.